Good day all, welcome to Module 3, Plumbing. So we'll be looking at basic plumbing repairs today. That is fixing leaks and simple features. So this module moves from theories into hands-on repairs. It develops the beginner's plumber's ability to diagnose real domestic faults, select the right tools and replacement parts, carry out safe repairs, and test the work until the system is watertight and functional. The focus is on the most common service calls in homes: leaking kitchen pipes, restrooms, supply leaks, clogged sinks, and dripping taps, and even overflowing water tanks. So, by way of module objectives, by the end of this module, the learner, which is you, should be able to diagnose, repair, and test the most common small-scale plumbing faults found in residential buildings. Specifically, the learner should be able to explain the purpose of the P-trap and split joint assembly under a kitchen sink. Identify where a leak is actually coming from before dismantling the power pipe or pipework. Repair leaking P-traps by tightening or replacing washer correctly. Explain the purpose of an angle stop and a braided supply line in a restroom. Repair minor angle stop steam leaks and repair a faulty supply line safely. Clear a kitchen sink clog using hot water, a plunger, a P-trap inspection, and a hand-held plunger in the correct order. Distinguish between compression faucets, pipe taps, mixer taps, and cartridge taps. Replace one faucet, washer, or cartridge according to the feature type, and troubleshoot an overflowing water tank by checking the float arm, float ball, valve diaphragm, and inlet or other seals. The learner should also be able to demonstrate the professional habit of placing a bucket before a tap, isolating water before repair, avoiding over tightening, avoiding correct use of the Teflon tape on washer-based connections, and testing all repairs thoroughly before leaving site. By way of introduction, Module 3 is the practical turning point in this plumbing course. In Module 1, you study the principles of water supply, the drainage, and venting. In Module 2, you learn the tools and equipment that make plunging work possible. In this module, both areas of knowledge come together in real repair solutions. The learner, which is you, is no longer describing plumbing systems. You are now fixing traps, loosening slip knots, replacing washers, fitting supply lines, clearing clogs, and restoring proper operation to fixtures that ordinary homeowners use every day. The repairs covered here are deliberate, deliberately basic, they are not trivial. A small drip under a sink can rot cabinet and flooring. A weak supply link can burst and flood the room in minutes. A dripping tap wastes thousands of gallons of water across a year. An overflowing tank can damage the roof structure and waste stored water. For that reason, every repair in this module follows a disciplined pattern. Identify the fault correctly, shut off or control the water, prepare the correct tools and replacement parts, remove the damaged components carefully, install the new parts in the correct orientation, and test the system until you are certified that the repair is sound. Let's look at leaking kitchen pipes, understanding the P-trap and the slip joints. So under the kitchen sink, the most common leak points are the P-trap and the slip joints that hold the trap assembly together. So what's the P-trap? The P-trap is the curved section of the pipe beneath the sink. So underneath your sink, that curved section beneath it is called the P-trap. Its first job is practical. It catches small objects that accidentally fall down the drain and stops them from traveling deep into the drainage system. Its second job is far more important for public health and comfort. It always holds together a small quantity of water. That standing water forms a seal that blocks sewage gases from traveling back up into the kitchen. While slip joints are the adjustable connections that make the under sink piping line up properly. A slip joint usually consists of a threaded nut, a tapered washers, and two pipe ends that slide together. The nut does not create the seal by itself. It simply compresses the tape washer so that the washer seals the joint. When the washer hardens, cracks, flattens, or is installed backwards, water escapes. That is why a beginner plumber must understand what a leaking slip joint is, usually a washer problem or an alignment problem, not a thread sealing problem. So how do you diagnose a P-trap or a slip joint correctly? A professional plumber never starts with dismantling everything blindly. The first task is diagnosis. That is, place a bucket directly under the P-trap because the trap already contains water, even if the sink has not been used. Dry the tap, not the tailpiece, the wall connection, completely using a rag. Then run water through the sink and wash carefully for the next appearance of moisture. These steps matters because water often runs down from a higher leak point and only drips from a lower connection, making the knot appear heaty when it's not. If moisture appears directly on the slip knot, the washer inside that joint is likely worn, misaligned, or over tightened. If water appears above the joint and then travels downward, the real fault may be the risk strainer connection or another joint higher in the assembly. After locating the first point of leakage, try hand tightening the slip knot firmly but gently. If the leak stops, no further work may be required. If the knot is already tight or the leak continues, disab- disassembly and washer inspections are required. Correct diagnosis saves time, part, and unnecessary disturbance to the piping. Now, how do you repair a leakage? Procedure and common mistakes. To repair the leak, loosen the slip knots with slip joint pliers or an adjustable wrench. I already saw what these things are. While supporting the trap so it does not drop suddenly. Remove the trap and place the trap water into a bucket. Inspect each tapped washer closely. A good washer should be flexible and eventually shaped. A bad washer may be cracked, flattened, hardened, or distorted. Also inspect the pipe ends and trap body for hairline cracks, corrosion, deformation. Clean away any greasy buildup before assembling. Install new washers with tapered side facing the fitting, not. Slide the pipe fully into position. Thread the knot by hand and tighten it firmly without forcing it. Hand tight plus a finer small turn with a wrench is usually enough. Then run water for at least 2 minutes and fill every joint with dry hands or a dry rag. Important mistakes to avoid are using the Teflon tape on slip joint threads, applying plumber putty to the knot, over tightening plastic knot until they crack, and ignoring a slow drip because it looks minor. A slow leak under a sink can quietly destroy cabinets, attract pests, and create mold before the owner notices. Let's look at the angle stops and supply lines. In restrooms, the most common service cause involves the angle stop and the water supply. The angle stop is that small shot of valve where the water pipe emerges from the wall or floor and turns upward towards the fixtures. Its purpose is simple but essential. It allows the plumber to isolate a single toilet or basin without shutting water to the whole building. In an emergency, that local control and prevent serious flooding. The supply line is the flexible hose that connects the angle stops to the toilet fill valve or faucet inlet. Most modern supply lines are braided um, stainless steel on the outside with a rubber or PVC inner tube and built-in rubber sealing washers at the end. This line operates under constant pressure so they do not fill gently forever. Over time, the inner materials age, the washers compress, and the line may leak at a connection or even burst. For this reason, supply lines are considered consumable items. Once removed, they should not be reinstalled because the washer already has a compression set and may not seal a second time. Now let's look at repairing an angle stop, the steam leak. When an angle stops leaks from behind, the usual cause is packing materials or damaged O-ring around the valve steam. By shutting off the main water supply to the building and opening a lower faucet to release residential pressure, removing the decorative cap and handle screw, then take off the handle so the stem and the packing nuts are visible. The packing nut is the small hexagonal nut directly behind the handle area. First attempt a controlled tightening of the packing nut, usually a quarter turn. If the leaking stops when the water is restored, the repair is complete. But if the leaking continues, remove the packing nut fully and replace the old packing material or the O-ring with a matching new one. Reassemble and test again. If the valve body is badly worn, corroded, or still leaks after new packing, the entire angle stops must be replaced. For a beginner, the key lesson is that the angle stop repair is not guesswork. Isolate pressure first, assess the stem correctly, tighten modestly, replace seals if necessary, and replace the whole valve only when simpler remedies fail. Now, how do you repair a simple line leak and recognize emergency risk? A simple leak, line leak rather, can appear at the nut connections or along the hose itself. Start by closing the angle stops and opening the toilet or faucet to release trap pressure. Place a towel or a small container below the connection. If the connection is at the nut, try a gentle tightening with a small adjustable wrench. Do not over tighten. The built-in washer creates the seal, and too much force can damage the brass or distort the washer. If tightening does not stop the leak, replace the entire supply line. Remove the old line, inspect the thread on both the angle stop or the features inlet and wipe them clean. Do not use Teflon tape on these threads because the seal comes from rubber washers, not the threads. Install the new line by hand first, then add a quarter turn with a wrench. Open the water slowly and inspect both ends. Any supply line showing a bulge, a bubble around the braid, corrosion at the furrow, or water whipping through the braid is an emergency waiting to happen, which is true. Such a line can burst under full pressure and flood a room in minutes, so replacement should be immediate, not postponed. So let's look at other things. Let's look at professional repair workflow and beginner's mistake that you should avoid. Now, across some of the repairs or all of the repairs in this module, professional workflow remains the same. Diagnose first, isolate water second, prepare tools and parts third, dismantle carefully, replace or repair what is faulty, and test thoroughly before leaving. This workflow prevents panic and creates consistent results. A plumber who follows method is trusted because the job appears controlled, clean, and deliberate. Common beginner's mistake includes over-tightening plastic nuts, using Teflon tapes where a washer actually makes the seal, using old supply lines, forcing an urger against solid resistance, buying the wrong catalog because the old one was not matched exactly, and leaving a quick test instead of a sustained test. Another serious mistake is repairing a visible system without understanding the physical cause. For example, changing a washer when the actual problem is a damaged valve seat or tightening a trap nut when the leak really comes from the sink strainer above it. Skills develops when the learner stops guessing and begins to work mechanically and systematically. So, by way of conclusion, Module 3 has shown that basic plumbing repairs are not random handyman tasks, they are structured technical procedures. You have learned how to diagnose and repair P-traps and joints, deal with angle stops and faulty lines, clear kitchen clogs in a proper sequence, and restore proper function to a water tank. If the most important lesson is that competence comes from method. A reliable plumber identifies the real source of a fault, uses the correct repair principle, install parts in the correct orientation, avoid shortcuts, and test the job until there's no doubt about the results. When these habits are repeated on real sinks, taps, toilets, and tanks, confidence grows and professional reputation begins to form. This is the bridge between learning plumbing and actually practicing it. That will be all for module 3. I'll see you in module 4.